Well, hello Sugar Buns. In this video we're going to be looking at our night here versus every hunter. Now there is going to be a timestamp here in our video when it comes to this too, so please do make sure to actually check out the timestamp in order for you to get a little bit more of an easier understanding here when it comes to night versus every hunter. But you know what, even so, with that on mind, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I do believe Knight is quite a nice survivor to play, especially when it comes to Rescuer too. I do believe he's really stable of a rescuer, so you know, I'll have some things in mind, but this is going to be Knight versus all other hunters in the game, alongside with all their abilities and all their chair cam potentials. Let's move on straight towards the video then. I'll see you all inside. Okay, let's see, we're going to start it off here with Ember. So the first thing we're going to try to do for Ember here is to see if we can actually drop down our phantoms if Knight uses his ability prediction. So right now Knight is going to use his ability prediction. We're going to try drop down a phantom. And it seems like when you try to press on the phantom, you immediately get locked here. So you actually can't deploy phantom as well if you are Ember. Now the next point for Ember is we're going to try to see if we can actually throw out his doll. So now we're holding on towards the doll. We're going to press and release. And it seems like he does gain his movement speed boost. And we do get silenced for a while too, for 6 seconds in a nutshell. Now the next thing we're going to test here is basically we're going to throw a doll out. And now Knight is going to predict us using an ability, and we're going to try teleport to our doll. And it seems like your ability still gets locked on here. Now, of course, the next part of this is we're going to try actually pick up this seer, and we're going to chair the seer. But during that time too, we're going to see if Knight can actually rescue against who again? If Knight can rescue against the phantom. So we're going to drop this down here and we're going to wait for the phantom to come. So the phantom is now moving and you basically don't get terror shocked at all. So the phantom actually cannot terror shock you when you are trying to do your items, right? And now of course, next part, as you can see here, the Knight can actually tank the phantom hit. So even if the phantom hits you, it's a chip damage. So that's all the test cases now for Knight versus Ember. Okay, now we're going to test out Knight against the Joker. So in this case scenario, the first thing we're going to try test out is his rocket dash. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically tap on his ability prediction, and we're going to see whether or not you can cancel his rocket dash. So here we go. That's the prediction ability, and now he will be locked immediately from ability, it seems. Okay, that's not bad to see. Now, of course, next on this list will be stalemate. So in a nutshell, we're going to press attack and then do stalemate. And in this case, now what we're going to do is we're going to see whether or not we can tank the chip hit. So we're just going to wait for stalemate to activate. There's stalemate. Can we tank the chip damage? Yes, we can. It seems like you can tank chip damages here against Clown. But not only that, we want to test out to see here when Clown equips his items, does that count as an ability? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to press her on number 1 with ability prediction. Can Clown put on his items? It seems like he can. So when Clown tries to put on his items, it doesn't really matter. And of course, just to test case this to you as well, that I actually equipped it a unlimited rocket dash. I'm going to dash here for quite a bit of time, up and back. As you can see here, it is quite long. So it seems like against Clown, you can tank chip damages against his rockets. You can cancel his rockets, but you actually cannot stop or prevent Clown from equipping any items on towards the rocket. Okay, now then we're going to test out against Ripper. So basically for Ripper, we want to test out against his Foggy Blade because that's what everyone has been asking. We will try with the ability prediction first to see if it works or not. So we're going to utilize our ability prediction and we're going to basic hit. And it seems like the Foggy Blade still comes down anyway, so it seems like the ability prediction isn't going to work at all. Now, of course, now Ripper seems like he's actually invisible, but this time what we're going to do is we're going to try predict whether he's going to use his attack or not. So in this case scenario, we're going to press number 2, so we predict that he's going to basic attack, and I'm going to get Ripper to basic attack. And it seems like when Ripper is in his basic attack form, he still remains invisible, but it's just that he can't get his Foggy Blade out. So let's try this again. We're going to predict his attack, and we hit, and it seems like his Foggy Blade actually doesn't come out. Now, it's a little bit harder to see here, to be honest with you. So what I'm going to do for Ripper here is I'm going to... Oh, there he goes down. Never mind. Okay, now let's see this while we can actually see Ripper. So I'm going to spam my attack button here, but now I'm going to predict that he's actually going to use his attack. There's Ripper's Foggy Blade. Can he hit it? He can't hit at all. And that's kind of how Ripper fares against this guy. So in a nutshell, going up against Ripper, you can just predict his ability attack. Now, not only that, we want to test out whether or not you can use Stalemate to actually tank that chip damage. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to press our number 2 and then press our number 3 here for the Stalemate. And right now, once Stalemate activates, we're going to utilize our Foggy Blade. So Stalemate now has been activated. Ripper hits with a Foggy Blade, and it seems like you will only tank a chip damage still. So that is Knight versus Ripper. Okay, so now it's Knight versus Gamekeeper. What we're going to test out to see is whether or not Knight can cancel Gamekeeper's hook ability. So this is the first thing. It seems like you can. Okay, that's no problem at all. You can actually cancel the hook ability here from Knight's point of view. But what if you can... What if he has already casted one hook? Can you stop the second hook, right? So we've unlimited hooks right now. That's what we're going to test out. We're going to ability predict. And it seems like your hooks does get cancelled out for the next 6 seconds. So there's a huge chance for Knight to actually cancel out your hooks if you've only 3-second cooldown on them to recast again. Now, of course, the next question is, can we place down traps in this case scenario? Let's see here from Knight's point of view. Knight is going to ability predict. Can we put down traps? Yes, we can't put down traps at all. So that's kind of unfortunate. Now, the next thing we kind of want to try predict here is, what if Knight uses his attack prediction and then gets on towards the cage? What will happen then? Will he outlast it? Now we're just gonna wait until it's over. Okay, so it seems like you actually wouldn't be able to outlast it. But I guess one of the other things that could potentially happen is you could attack predict, and then you can use the and then you can use a stalemate. So even if you're here, you have that and you get hit, you know, you still only take a chip damage. But even so, what if, let's say, we want to see whether or not our Fury Hook can tank the chip here or not. So now we're just going to wait until the Stalemate shield comes out. The shield comes out, we hook. There's no damage here on towards Knight. Okay, that's pretty decent, but that's Gamekeeper versus Knight. Now we're going to try test out Knight versus Soul Weaver, but what is there to test about Soul Weaver? So the first thing that we are going to try out here is to predict whether or not Soul Weaver can put down her ability or not, her web thread. So we're going to try predict it right now. So there's the 8-second mark. We're holding on to its web thread right now, and we drop it down. It seems like she gets locked immediately. So not even Soul Weaver can actually use her web threads at all. But, of course, for Soul Weaver, that is not it. Soul Weaver still has her spit that she can use. Can we disable the spit? That's what we're going to test out here. Here, we're going to press it. And now for Soul Weaver, we're going to spit. It seems like the spit is also cancelled. You do see the small animation there, but that is not it. What else is there that we want to test out? We want to see whether or not Stalemate here can actually tank a chip damage. So now we're just waiting for Stalemate to be activated. It will now be activated, and we try chip. It seems like you do not get damaged at all, as you can see on the top right hand side of your screen. Of course, you still do get the web threads here, which is a little bit unfortunate, but that's a pretty nice thing to have. Now, there's a little bit more when it comes to Soul Weaver too, and it's very similar when it comes to rescuing against Soul Weaver. So right here, we're going to try get Seer down while I get rid of the web Seer. So the moment I get Seer down, what we are going to test out here is, can Soul Weaver cocoon the survivor if we predict that she's going to cocoon? So right now, that's what we're going to do. We're going to press our ability button number 1. Soul Weaver is going to try cocoon, and it seems like cocoon definitely does work. So I guess at the end of the day, you know, if Soul Weaver wants to chair someone, you cannot stop her at all. But I guess you can still rescue, you know, the survivor on the cocoon too, and they tank one, or they only take a chip damage. Or if they take a chip damage, they take no damage at all. So that's Knight versus Soul Weaver. Okay, so from Geisha's point of view right now, let's just see if Night can actually stop us from throwing our butterflies there. So that's going to be the first thing we test. So let's see here, butterfly. It seems like butterfly also does get cancelled. Now, what if there's an already existing butterfly and you want to use your dash ability just like that? What will happen then? We're going to see whether or not Night can actually cancel this. And it seems like yes, Night can. Now, the next question is, we have this ability called Soul Departure that allows you to get up, aiming straight towards the air. Can Night cancel this ability? Let us just see right now. So we're gonna predict, and let's see if we go up. If we go up, it does get immediately cancelled. Now, if you go up, it gets cancelled. What if you fall down? So we're gonna go up first, and we're gonna ability predict. Let's see here. If we fall down, does anything happens? It seems like nothing happened and it is still there. So what does this mean when it comes to countering Geisha with her chair cam? It means that you can actually just predict that Geisha will use her attack ability instead, because when she drops down, she immediately just inspects her items. As you can see, I try to use a basic attack hit. But of course, that's not it. What if you're in air, right? And then there's a butterfly right there. Will the ability button cancel the butterfly dash? Yes, it can. You just get immediately forced down on towards the ground. So that's some pretty interesting things to see here between Night versus Geisha. But for a Night versus Geisha TLDR, you could just use attack protection and then stalemate prediction when she's up in air, because, you know, the moment she drops down, you will have your shield there to just take one chip damage. So honestly speaking, he's a pretty nice rescuer against Geisha. Okay, here we can see Wu Chan versus Night. So I guess for Wu Chan right now, the first thing we'll want to test out to see is whether he can actually throw his umbrellas out or not. So right now we're going to try ability. We're going to try ability predict. And can Wu throw his umbrella? No, he can't. He gets immediately cancelled out. But let's say it this way, right? But what if we want to say, hey, what if we're going to use Wu Chan's other umbrella in which he does not teleport immediately? Does he get locked too? So he's currently using this umbrella that he chose out, but he doesn't get teleported. It seems like he does get locked here as well. Now, not only that, let's try out now if Wu Chan puts his umbrella down, like just here, and he wants to teleport to it. Let's see whether he can do it here or not. He can't. Okay, so he cannot teleport to his umbrella even if it's left on the ground. But of course, that's not it. That's not it. There's also one more. What if Wu throws his umbrella out and he wants to retrieve his umbrella? And in our case scenario, he also cannot retrieve it here, it seems. That is very, 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 very good for Wu versus, you know, a character like this. But that's not it. There's still more. What if Wu Chan wants to use his Soul Departure? So we're going to test it out here. So we predict the ability. Here's Soul Departure. His Soul Departure immediately gets cancelled out. Okay, so there goes Soul Departure too. Now, not only that, Wu Chan has a bell which is called Unwavering Soul. Would this, let's just say it this way, right? Would this get cancelled with the ability prediction? Let's see here. And it does. So not even Wu can use his bell in this case scenario. So that is honestly speaking pretty strong. But I do want to say one more thing, right? What we're going to test out here is Wu Chan's charge attack ability. So in a nutshell, I'm just going to wait for... we're going to do this. So that immediately gets reset. So we're going to see his charge attack ability here against Night. So I'm going to press 2. And then we're going to charge attack here. And it seems like the moment you start long tapping that attack button, it also just immediately gets nullified. So you can't really do anything to, you know, this guy. So that's Wu Chan versus Night. That is honestly speaking pretty decent, especially with the unlimited ability locking and his long attack hitbox won't be able to reach you at all. Okay, so that's Night versus Wu. Okay, let's see Joseph here. The biggest question for everyone right now is, what if Jojo decided to use... What if you can use stalemate against Joseph? Will he take a chip hit, or will it be a half health hit here? So that's what we're going to see against Jojo. We're going to basic hit. And it seems like against Joseph, he will receive that half health hit. So in that sense, maybe Jojo would not be a bad counter to this guy, but also at the same time, if you want to counter Joseph in a nutshell, just do this. Just predict this attack, and there's nothing else you can do about it. Now, that's not it that we want to test out today. What we want to see here is, can Jojo use his camera if we predict his ability? So right now we're going to press number 1, predicting ability. Can Jojo use camera? Jojo can use camera, it seems. So Joseph actually isn't. Joseph is immune to Knight's ability if you're only using camera. But what if we want to go into photo world? So we're gonna predict ability here, and we're gonna try going to photo world. It seems like it immediately gets cancelled out. Okay, so that's photo world. Now the next part of this is, what if we want to use our teleportation card? So in a nutshell, we're gonna use our ability. We're gonna hold on to our card here. Can we teleport? We can't, so it immediately gets knocked out of form. And of course, this time, we're gonna go into this photo world, and we're gonna get Jojo to come in here with us as well. Now, we want Joseph to actually go towards the real world here. Will it work? So we're gonna predict. It seems like the card immediately gets nullified. Now, I guess this is kind of... I guess everyone knows the answer to this, but what if Joseph just walks out of the mirror? So we're gonna predict ability. Can Jojo walk out? He can. So yeah, there's really nothing stopping Joseph here against a knight. But that's Joseph versus knight for all those of you wondering. Okay, next is Mad Eyes versus Knight. So what we're going to test out for Mad Eyes here is, can Mad Eyes actually get on his console if we predict his ability? So that's what we're going to do right now, or is it going to be the same as Joseph? Now we're going to get on Chang. We're going to come here, and we're going to try play something down. And it seems like we can actually place a fence down even if you predict his ability. So let's try this again. We're going to predict the ability. We're going to throw some fence down. And it seems like the fence still does come down. So it doesn't seem like Mad Eyes is actually safe against... it doesn't seem like Knight is safe against Mad Eyes. But what if we want Mad Eyes here to actually utilize his console? So we'll increase the presence here for Mad Eyes to get his console, to get his mini phone, right? And right now what we're going to do is we're going to face this way just so we can see. As you can see here, he gets on his phone, he gets on his consoles. We're now going to predict to see whether he can get on or not with ability prediction. So we're going to tap it. Can you get on console? Ooh, it seems like you can't get on console. So what does that mean? It simply means that if a Mad Eyes is chair camping and he's not using the actual physical console but the one on his hands, you're basically cooked. You basically can't do anything against anything with chair camping anymore. Now, there is actually one way for Mad Eyes to be forced out of console if he is basically on it here, or even just on it on his own hands. So, how does it work? You see the bottom left here, there's an OR button that you can press. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get Knight to predict that you're gonna use an ability. And if you press this OR button, his ability gets immediately nullified. So if you want to lock a Mad Eyes off his console, he has to press that OR button to be able to actually get nullified. We're going to test this out once again, and this time Mad Eyes is going to go on here. And since Mad Eyes is on here right now, we are going to use our ability prediction, and we press OR. He gets immediately nullified. There you go. Okay, but now that's not it. A lot of people have questions saying, hey Kudo, what if we have stalemate and we try to tank Mad Eyes fence? That's basically what we're going to test out now. So we're going to get on our consoles here immediately. We're going to see when stalemate is going to activate. It activates. Okay. Does he get chipped? He does still get chipped. Okay. So for Mad Eyes versus this guy, even if he does have that chip even if you still can't tank that chip damage, it seems like it does go through. Now, I don't know whether this is a bug or not. We can actually just test it out one more time here. But it's very different compared to Soul Weaver, it seems. So we're gonna get on our consoles. He does have his tank damage, but he still gets that chip damage, it seems. So that's kind of unfortunate here. I don't know whether this is a bug or this is a feature, or it's just because it's Mad Eyes and the fence penetrates through Knight, but that's Mad Eyes versus Knight right now. Of course, next is going to be our friend Feaster. So for Feaster, I guess the best way to test out here is, can we use our tentacles? Can we deploy it down? So we're holding on towards the tentacles right now. We drop it down and he gets immediately nullified. So you actually cannot drop your tentacle down if he's trying to predict the ability. Now, of course, the next part of all of this is, what if the tentacles has already been dropped down? And now what we want to say is we want to predict ability. Will the tentacle slap us? Let's have a good look at the tentacle. The tentacle will not slap you, so there is Feaster there, a little bit annoyed at himself, of course. Not only that, what we want to test out now is how much damage does tentacle actually tank. So we're going to wait for stalemate here to be ready. And the moment that stalemate is ready, we're going to drop down our tentacle. It seems like you only take a chip damage, thankfully. Now, not only that, there is this ability in which this guy can actually look at you. So what we're going to test out here is we're going to use our ability button here, and we're going to see if Feaster can activate his max presence skill, in which he kind of looks at the survivor. And it seems like you can't do that as well. Okay, let's see it from Feaster's point of view. Okay, now, so here you can see I'm actually at max presence, and it's this V ability we're talking about. So we're going to see whether or not we can use this on the survivor. So right now, he's going to try ability predict me here, and I'll just hold on V to show you guys. Will this work? No, it wouldn't. You just get locked immediately. Okay, that's pretty interesting to see. But of course, not only that, can you use your slapdown ability if you already looked on towards the survivor? And that's what we're going to test out right now. We're going to predict the ability, and we're going to press V once again. It seems like you cannot do anything against Knight here, sadly. So Knight is also really good against Feaster when it comes to camping too. Okay, that's a lot of things we learned about Feaster versus Knight. Let's move on towards the next character. Okay, now with Knight versus Dreamwitch, let's see if we can leech on towards Knight if he tries and predict that we're going to use our leech ability. So that's what we are going to do. So for Knight right now, we're going to use ability prediction, and it seems like it's locked to the follower instead. So there is actually nothing that Knight can do against Dreamwitch when it comes to leeching. Okay, so with Knight right now, as you can see, you actually can't utilize your ability button at all, even though on the top right it says that Dreamwitch is nearby. So you actually cannot stop Dreamwitch from, leeching on towards you at the end of the day. Now, of course, that will not apply if there's a follower nearby. Next part about this is, I guess, is what if we switch from one follower to the other? Will Knight lock you up or not? So we're going to predict our ability right now, and we're going to try change to spawn follower. And it seems like Knight fully counters this character. But of course, in this case now, what we're going to do is, what if we try to predict that we're going to use an attack? So we locked on towards our leech follower actually, but what if we hit here? If we hit here, you still get a hit anyway. So it seems like Knight has to select which character he wants to lock, it seems. But I do think it's the closest, so it's the closest character that is near Knight. Therefore, it means that if it's any follower that isn't closest towards Knight, now Knight will auto lock the one that's actually closest to him. We're gonna see it from Knight's point of view here. Okay, now this is from Knight's point of view. Can we lock their attack? It seems like even if you press number 2 here, you basically I don't even know what to say. How does this directional work? We're gonna see it from this point directional. So we're gonna face this follower, and it seems like you lock on this follower. What if we face this follower? It's okay, if you locked on towards one, it's only one. So it seems like for Knight right now, depending on which direction you face. Oh wait, hold on, why do we look that way instead? I'm a bit confused. We're gonna wait for that to be over, and then we're gonna look up forward. Let's look up this way. It seems like we're still locking on towards this main follower here instead of our own leech. Okay, what about we're very close towards this follower right now? It seems like now we can actually lock on this. Okay, so if that's the case, it seems like for Knight, Dreamwitch is gonna be a really hard counter, because like if we predict that with this leech is going to use a basic hit, but then this leech here on the other hand is going to hit you instead, you're gonna get damage. So yeah, that's Dreamwitch versus Knight right now. Dreamwitch hard counters Knight, it seems. Okay, so I guess the first and foremost, can you plant a tree down if Knight predicts your ability? So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna try plant a tree down here, as you can see, holding my button. Oops, my bad. Okay, we're gonna try that again. Okay, so we're now gonna try plant a tree down, as you can see, holding my button. it seems like you actually cannot plant a tree down if Night predicts your ability. Okay, so that's point number 1. What if we want to use a soul orb here? So we're going to try predict it from this point of view, and we want to use a soul orb. So is there anything nearby for me to use right now? There isn't. So we'll plant it. You know what? We'll actually just plant a tree first. So of course, first and foremost, the tree goes down, and now we're going to try and predict whether we can cancel the orbs or not. So we're holding on, we're pulling, and it seems like when you pull, it immediately gets cancelled. So that's point number 2. But what if we want to activate stalemate against the soul orbs? And this is what we're going to test out here too. So this is stalemate versus soul orbs. We're just going to wait for it to end. That's the shield. We put it in, and it seems like Night actually just takes a chip damage still. Okay, as you can see here, on the bottom left, near my restful road here, there is a number 1 button in which I can put a branch on that restful road. Will our ability be cancelled? So I'm holding on towards number 1. It seems like it's actually being applied, so it wouldn't really do anything against that. But if you put down restful road, it will get cancelled. So that's kind of all the interaction Night has against Axeboy here, it seems. Okay, so just a preliminary. So the first thing we're going to test out is our jumping ability. So basically what we're going to see here is, can Night limit Reptilian's jump? So we're going to try use our ability button, and now we're going to jump. And it seems like if you try to jump, it immediately gets cancelled. But that is not it. What if we're mid-air and we want to immediately drop down? Would we actually get locked? So that's what we're going to try out right now. Oh, never mind. It seems like nothing happened. I do think it's a little bit hard to do. We're going to try this one more time. So we're going to jump up in the air. So we're going to be in range. And now we jump up in the air. I do that. And when you drop down normally, nothing basically happens. So when you're jumping and he tries to ability lock you, but you just drop down, nothing happens. Now what we're going to try to do is we're going to try our crash down. What is crash down? It's basically this. And then you crash down and deal damage. So that's what we're going to try to do here. So I'm going to try to time this correctly on my phone. So the moment we jump, we're gonna use our ability button and then crash down. So we jump, ability button. What if what happens? We crash down. When we crash down, just immediately fall on the ground. So we're gonna test that one more time right now. We're going to jump, ability, crash down. Crash down, you immediately drop down here on the ground, and he does gain a movement speed boost. But of course, that is not it. What if we want to try tank one of his drop down abilities? Well, one of his drop down full hit damage. Will you be able to take a chip damage, or is it full damage? Let's see here. So we get it. We jump down, and it's a chip. And it's a chip. Let's try this one more time. We're going to predict the ability, and then we're going to predict the stalemate. So now we're just going to wait for that to actually be over. 3, 2, 1, it's over. We jump, we crash down. It's only a chip damage here, it seems. So that's all the ability interactions here between Reptilian and this guy. In a nutshell, right, even if you do use your ability prediction late, you can still immediately cancel that jump down effect, that crashing effect that Reptilian has. Then let's move on towards the next hunter. Okay, next on our list right now is going to be Bloody Queen versus this guy. So TLDR, there's a few things we need to test, and first thing is, can we actually lock Bloody Queen's mirror? And with that in mind, I'm just going to increase the presence one more time. We're going to get Night to predict an ability, and here's BQ holding her mirror. We're going to drop it down, and that's mirror immediately locked. Okay, that's no problem at all. Now here's the next thing. What if your mirror is actually already dropped down, and now what you're going to do is you're going to predict whether she's going to basic hit you or not? Will this work? It will work. So basically your basic attack animation also gets cancelled immediately. Now here is the next question. Since Night can immediately get out of range here for BQ, so this is around just the limit, right? This is around just the limit. What if, let's say, hypothetically speaking, you're going to try predict the ability button here, and then you get out of range, and then she drops a mirror down. It seems like you can still lock the item, because like in this range, Night actually can't lock on towards you. But if you have already been targeted here, as you can see, and even if you try get as far away as Night as possible and then drop down a mirror, you'd still be locked, it seems. Now, what if, let's say this time, you're able to drop down your mirror, but he basically predicts that you're going to use a basic hit, and then you're going to move all the way out. What happens here? With basic hit, it seems like even if you basic hit, it's going to be a 2 to 3 second stun on the attack animation. So in a nutshell, right, when it comes to Bloody Queen with her mirrors and with her basic hits, you need to be very careful, right? Even if you are out of range, out of the 30 meter radius range, your ability will get locked, or you will get stunned. You will have to inspect your items. But of course, that is not it. What if we want to use our Or ability here, in which it does this? Will Night actually be able to lock our ability? And that's what we're going to test right now. So as we wait for the mirror to go into cooldown, we're going to drop down the mirror first. So here comes the mirror. Now we're going to predict an ability button, and we're going to press Or. And it seems like when you press Or, if you want to relocate, that's going to immediately cancel out your mirrors. We're going to try this with a bigger distance this time. So we're going to drop that down. We're going to walk back while we have that. And now we're going to just about press Or. It seems like your whole mirror here gets cancelled. So when playing Bloody Queen versus the Knight, you have to be very careful in what you do. Because if you don't do it correctly, or even if your mirror comes out first, and then Knight decides to predict your attack, even if you want to attack, you're going to get stunned and he gets a movement speed boost. So you have to be very, very, very careful here against Knight. Okay, this time we're going to try test Knight out against Bonbon. So I guess the first thing is his basic bombs. We're going to try ability predictor with the basic bombs. We're holding on towards it now. We're going to drop it down. And it seems like your ability gets locked for the next 6 seconds. Now, of course, instead of basic bombs, there's also remote control bombs. So we're going to try ability predict. We're holding on towards the remote control bomb right now. We're going to try drop it down. And it seems like the remote control bomb also gets locked. But what if our remote control bomb is already actually on the ground and we want to detonate it? But this guy wants to use his ability predict. We're going to try detonate right now. And when you try detonate, it just doesn't seem like it will work. So TLDR, you're going to have to detonate again, just like that. Now, can Knight actually tank 1 chip damage? That's what we're going to do right now while waiting for stalemate. So as we hold on towards the button right now, the moment stalemate comes out, we're going to throw down the bomb. Now, can we tank the chip damage here? As you can see, he does tank the chip damage. So he can actually tank 1 chip damage if you really want to, I guess. But of course, last but not least, what about this button here in which you can adjust the time? Will that lock Bonbon's ability? We're going to try that out right now. We're going to predict ability, and we're going to change this. We change this. We change this. It seems like it doesn't really lock you at all. So like when it comes to changing the time bombs here, it's fine. So that's Knight versus Bonbon. Okay, now then for Anne, I guess what everyone wonders is actually her cats here. Can we lock the cats from coming out? And that's what we're going to see. So we're going to use the ability prediction button. We're going to try drop down the cats. It seems like you get locked down here immediately. But that is not it. What if the cats are actually already out, but you want to split the cats? So that's what we're going to try. So the cat comes out. We're going to try lock the ability. We want to split the cats. The cats get immediately cancelled. So no matter how early or how late this guy uses his ability prediction, you will always be locked. So in a nutshell, it kind of just means that the moment your cat comes out, he can immediately do this, and even if you want to split it, there's nothing you can do. You just have to, if you press it, you get locked and he gets a speed boost. Now, a very common question right now is, what if you get the cat out and then you put it on this guy, but then you use paralysis, which is the burst? That's what we're going to test out right now. We try paralysis. And with the paralysis, it seems like nothing happens. He does gain his movement speed boost, and paralysis does not work because you just get immediately locked. Now, what about Ant's cross? What about this item here, which is the cross? Will this get locked? We're going to test that out now as well. I did lock this guy, so we're going to wait a little bit. Okay, we're back. So we're going to get the cat out. Okay, the cat comes out. Now we want to ability predict. Okay, can we bring the cross back? Can we bring the cross back? We can't. It just get immediately locked. So like this guy's really good against Ant's camping. So TLDR, you just have to predict every time ability button, and then Ant can't do anything. Ant really can't do anything against you at all. But that's not it, I guess. There's still Ant's catwalk in which she can dash. So what we're gonna try here is we're gonna throw the cat out like this. And now we are going to ability predict that Anne is going to use her jumps. And we're holding on towards the jumps. So right now, can we jump? Oh, we can't jump. So even jumps now are fully targeted, it seems. So it seems like Naiad is actually really good against Anne. Let's move on towards the next character. Okay, now I guess we'll test out Violinist. I do think Violinist is a really good test because you have strings, you have your demon notes, which is basically this, and you have your max presence skill, which is in a nutshell this. So we're gonna try test them out one by one, but I guess the first comes first serve, and that is his demon notes, which is this big string. So as we waited for cooldown right now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to get Night to predict whether or not we're gonna use our demon notes. So here is the first one. Can we throw this out? No, we can't. Okay, that's no problem at all. But that's not just it. What if your first demon note has already been deployed out and then he starts to predict your ability? Will this work? It seems like the whole ability will be cancelled. So it seems like for Violinist, that's a little bit unfortunate. Now, what about his global notes that he throws out on towards the field? What if we say we try to predict the ability? Does this work? It seems like it doesn't work. Now, that might not be it. What if we say we're going to try predict the ability and then he presses on the ability? Will it get locked? It seems like it will get locked. Okay, so as long as you predict the ability and then he presses it, it will get locked. But if it has already been activated and then you press the ability, then it will just not be locked and he can still throw it out. But of course, that is not it. What if he has enabled his demon notes, right? But then we say we want to predict attack. Will this attack come out? It seems like it won't. We tried to attack here to throw out the demon notes and it has been fully nullified. Okay. Now that is still not it just yet. What if we say we want to do this? Right, and then we want to use our V button, our max presence button. Can this come out? It seems like it can't, and your whole demon node is just out of, you know, it's just gone. It just says goodbye to you. So when it comes to Vio versus this guy, it does seem like he's pretty strong as well. But that's Vio versus Night. Let's move on towards the next hunter. Okay, now we're gonna test out Night versus Sculptor. So I guess the most basic first two things is actually her statues. We're gonna try throw out this horizontal statue here while he predicts her ability. Does this item come out? It seems like no, it doesn't at all, and you'll get immediately ability locked for the next 6 seconds. I guess it kind of does come into play with the horizontal one too. You do get immediately locked, so there is that. But of course, Sculptor still does have her chisel as well, and with this chisel, let's just see if this gets locked too. So we're going to predict ability, we're going to try to throw down the chisel, and it seems like the chisel also gets locked too. But not only that, Sculptor does have this max presence in which she can actually do homing statues just like that. And I do think what we want to try test out here is if Night uses his ability prediction, will the homing missile statues come? So that's basically what we're going to see right now. So TLDR, I'm just going to throw down the 2 statues first. So I'm going to stand back here. So then 1, 2, and then we do this. Does it come to him? It does still come to him, so I guess it doesn't really do much when it comes to against this guy at all. But I guess you could say, hey Kudo, will this guy be able to actually tank a chip damage? And you know what? We can definitely try. So that's the first statue placed down. That's the next statue. And he does tank the chip damage. As you can see, he was at half health and he remained at half health just with that too. So that's Sculptor versus Night. Okay, now what we're going to see here is we're going to see whether Night can actually counter Undead or not. To be honest with you, Undead is pretty high, so I'm going to put him at an angle like this. And I guess the first thing we're going to try to test out is, can Night counter this? Right, and that's what we're gonna do right now. So Night right now with ability prediction, can he counter it? He can. You can't really dash in this case scenario. Okay, that's very nice to see. But not only that, what about his second ability in which he does this? Will Night be able to counter it? We're gonna test it out right now. Night with ability prediction, and we're gonna hold. It seems like even if you do try to hold it, that's gonna get immediately countered. But I do think that's not it, right? Because he does have a second part to his skill right now. So if we charge here and then Night does this, can we activate our ability again? We can. So that simply just means that Night cannot do anything against Undead in this situation. So what are we going to do? We are going to test this out one more time. So we're going to hold this, use ability prediction button, and then we're going to hold OR again. And it seems like when you hold OR here, yes, you managed to successfully predict it, but this is Undead, and he does basically not get stunned. So like if you're like full charge, you don't get stunned, it seems. Now, in this case scenario, what if Undead is full charged and you want to try his dash ability? Will he get nullified? That's what we're gonna test out right now. Can we get nullified? It seems like we still can, even if you are half health, even if you are 50 energy, because with 50 energy you actually cannot get damage. We're gonna go up here once again to 90 just to show everyone, well 88 just to show everyone ability. We're gonna dash. Oh, it seems like the dash still does get cancelled. Okay, so like there's nothing Undead can do even if he is above 50 or below 50 energy, but with his OR button it's a whole bit of a different scenario. Okay. Now I guess the next question is his charge up and charge down button, which is the V button. What if Undead wants to use it? Does that work? It seems like it actually gets locked. So if you want to charge up or charge down, it'll get locked here immediately. But that's not it. What if, let's say for example, right, Undead is max energy load and he charges, he dashes up, will we be able to cancel the crash down? And that's what we want to test out here. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to time this properly. We're going to dash, we're going to do this. Can we crash down? We can crash down. Okay, so crash down is still available to use. Crash down is 100% available to use, right? So we're going to test it out one more time. I'm just going to wait for the energy to go down here a little bit. It should go down soon. Hopefully it will go down soon, but we're gonna hold on to his ability right now. We're going to press V. We're currently at 71 stack. We're gonna dash. We're gonna predict ability. We're gonna crash down. It seems like you're able to crash down. So there's that for Undead. But of course, if you are at, you know, max, well, above 80 or above 50 energy and you try charge attack kit, you will still get stunned here, as you can see. So like this guy's not immune to the attack, even if you're above 50. So he still does get stunned here, sadly. Okay, so now we're gonna try test out this guy versus Wheel. So in a nutshell, for the first thing we want to see is, can we actually stop this guy from changing into wheel form and back? And right now, we're gonna put this in towards the test. So this Knight is gonna try use his ability. We're holding on towards V. Can we get into wheel form? We can't. Okay, so this guy can actually stop you from getting into wheel form. Now the next part is, what if you're already in wheel form? What if you're already just in wheel form right now and you want to change into human form? So we'll get a Knight here right in front of us. Knight is now going to predict that you're going to change into human form. We press V. It seems like you can actually change back from wheel to human form, but you can't change from human to wheel form. Now let's see, what if we're at max presence and we're going to be in wheel form right now? Would we be able to cancel that explosion spike from the wheel? We're going to predict right now and we press V. Will the spike still does come out? Okay, so the spike still does come out, so there's nothing you can do about it. Now, the next part of this is what happens with snap. So the snap ability is basically this button that you press, and then the survivor gets a snap like that. What happens with snap? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna push a 1 spike on towards Knight. We're gonna move back towards human form and we're gonna try snap here when Knight has predicted your ability. So we're gonna try snap. We try snap and it seems like it just gets immediately countered. Of course, this works the same with reticent, which is his this ability. So you try to throw it down. It seems like you will still get locked at the end of the day. But of course, that might just not be it. What if you're in wheel form and then you want to use your speed boost, which is this thing here? So I'm gonna press the speed boost and you can see me getting thinner. What if we want to do this, but Knight decides to predict us? So that's what we're gonna do. So here we go. We're gonna try use our speed boost. It seems like the speed boost will work. So there is no restriction when you're in wheel form for breaking wheel against Knight. But what if this one we want to use our extended spikes, in which you can see here this thing is extended out. Excuse my English. Let's see whether or not Knight can prevent this. We're gonna do this, and then we're gonna press R. And it seems like he does get a speed boost, but these spikes still do come out okay. So that's something very, very, very interesting to see. But that should be all the abilities here between Knight and Wheel. We'll move on straight towards, of course, the next hunter. Okay, I do think that the next thing we want to test out here is whether or not Knight can prevent Harpoon from being thrown out here. So we're gonna max charge the Harpoon right now. We're gonna ability predict. Can we throw the Harpoon out? No, we can't. That's a little bit unfortunate. But of course, that's not it. What if our Harpoon is already out? And then can we retrieve the Harpoon if Knight decides to predict us? We also cannot retrieve the Harpoon too, so it seems like you're still in swimming state. It's just that you cannot retrieve the Harpoon. Okay, we see. Now, of course, that's not it. What if you want to use your Surging Tides, which is this ability in which you dive? Can Knight actually counter this? Let's see. So Knight predicts us right now. Let's go for it. Knight. Oh, it seems like you can't actually dash too. So your ability gets immediately locked. Okay. Now, that's not it, of course. What if, let's say this time, we want to see whether or not Naiad can... Well, Knight can tank Naiad's Abyss, which is her moisture ability. So we're going to try this out right now. That's 50%. That's 100, and it seems like Knight still only takes a chip damage. Ooh la la, it seems like Knight wouldn't be that bad when it comes to rescuing survivors against this Naiad too, because Naiad can't really pull her harpoons out if her harpoons are already out, right? So there's something for you guys to know. But of course, that's it for Naiad. Let's move on straight towards the next character. Is going to be Wax Artist. So for Wax Artist, the first thing we're going to test out is actually his Sputter ability. Will we be able to lock it? So Knight is going to predict us. He's predicting. Can we lock it? It seems like we can. So that you go into animation, but you get locked immediately. Okay, so that's with his wax coming out from his shooting thing. Now, what if we are already shooting? What happens in this case scenario and then we already predicted? It seems like it doesn't really matter. So like for this guy, you need to make sure that he does it, you know, without it being already in animation. So that's something there for you guys to know. Now, of course, that's not it. What about his second ability in which he throws out this blob? Can we actually lock it? Let's test it out right now. We can lock it, and he does get his movement speed boost too. Okay, that's pretty interesting to see. Now, another one of Wax Artist's abilities is him being able to change into Hot Wax, which is the V button on our screen. So we press V, that's changing to Hot Wax, and that's coming back from Hot Wax. And we just want to see whether we can lock him or not. So let's change into Hot Wax. It seems like your ability gets immediately locked. Okay, so you can't actually change into Hot Wax, which it means if you are like 96 stacks of wax, that's pretty strong. But what if you want to change from Hot Wax to Cold Wax? Can we predict this? So we're going to change back right now. And it seems like his ability still gets locked. Okay, that is very, very, very scary. I do think Knight counters NightWatch then to a quite a big extent, let's say. But of course, that's not it. What if we want Knight to... Well, let's see if Knight can actually tank a Hot Wax damage from this guy. So that's what we're going to see. We're going to throw our Blob Wax down. Okay, he's going to try to get towards 100 stacks. And with 100 stacks, he only takes 1 chip damage instead of a half health chip. So what I would say here is Knight is pretty strong against Wax Artist still. Then that's it for Wax Artist. Let's move on towards the next hunter. Okay, now we're going to be able to see Nightmare here versus Knight. So for Nightmare, we're going to test out his first skill, which is this. Let's just see if we can lock his first skill or not. So here's his ability. We're going to use F. And it seems like the moment you're fully charged, you do get nullified and your basic hits are normal. Okay, so that's something new to see. But what if, right, you already got the mark on him and then you want to try ability... Let's just say you want to predict ability. It seems like you can't dash to do the normal hit. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. So then, like, that just means if you do get fully locked, all what you have to do here is to predict the basic hit. And if you basic hit, you cannot activate it at all here, it seems. Okay, then, that's pretty interesting to see. But what if we want to cancel our, you know, charge up ability, right? So we're going to try this out now. We're going to try predict. Okay, can we cancel it? It seems like it seems like you can cancel it. It doesn't really do much. So, in a nutshell, when it comes to continuing against Nightmare, all you need to do is to predict the attack. right? But then I guess you need to get the mark on first, as you can see in the video here too. Now, that is not it. He still does have a crows here as well. Can we prevent the crows from being thrown out? Let's see here. It seems like you can, but if the crow is in mid-air, hold on, but if the crow is in mid-air and then you try lock, nothing basically happens. So the moment the crow comes out and you try the ability lock, nothing happens. But what about his teleportation? My bad. Apparently it already went down, so we're gonna try it again. So what about teleportation? It seems like your teleportation will also get locked too, in a nutshell. So I guess that's that for Nightmare. TLDR, you can allow him to get the mark, but then all you do is, you know, lock the basic hit, and that's honestly about it against Nightmare. Okay, now a lot definitely comes in mind when it comes to Clerk, and for Clerk you have this button. Let's just see if NightWatch can actually cancel out your scrolls. So we're holding on towards it right now. Let's put on night, let's put on night, and it seems like you can't do anything about it tonight. But what if in this case scenario you put it on night and then he uses his ability button? What happens now? What happens now basically is if you do decide to take it back, you'll get ability locked, but it still remains the same. So what does this mean? This means that if you want to go after Knight, and then Knight does his ability thing, and then he decides to drop down a pallet, and then you want to take your scroll back, it's still in effect. I mean, you do still get your scrolls. You do 100% still get your scrolls, but it's just really, really, really slow right now. Hold on, my bad. We have T open, but it's just really, really, really slow right now, in a nutshell. All right, so we're gonna see here. So we're gonna be able to drop, I think. So we're gonna be able to drop, but then, like, as you can see, the remaining of the recording is still recorded here. So, like, it's still really, really, really long. I do think when it comes to this guy versus Clerk, this guy can probably win if, like, you just put the scroll on and then you predict the attack. So then in this case scenario, you need to, if you want to attack, there's nothing you can do. You need to take the scroll back first and then attack, right? But of course, that is not it. If, let's say, you get something on this guy, you get a scroll from the Knight, and then what you want to say is, I'm going to take my scroll back, and I'm gonna do my ability prediction button. Can we actually throw the scrolls down is our question here. So that's what we're gonna do. It seems like you can't. It doesn't get consumed, but your ability does get locked here. Okay, that's a tiny bit unfortunate. Now, not only that, what if, let's say, Clerk wants to use her Inspect? What is Inspect, you might wonder? It is this ability in which you can get a bird's eye view from the Cypher machine. We're gonna get Knight here to ability predict her, and we're gonna try Inspect. You try Inspect, and it seems like it doesn't work. Now, of course, that is not it. Let's actually this time get Knight to run towards that Cypher machine. And we're gonna get Knight to actually decode it, right? So I guess from our point of view here is, can Knight ability lock you? No, he can't because you're not within range. So we're gonna try get within range here, right? We're gonna try get within range. Let's say we want Clerk to actually see us. And in this case scenario, we see him and then he sees us. We are going to get a bird's eye view, and now we want ability predict. Let's see if we can actually stop ourselves from watching. We can. So, like, you can stop yourself from watching, but you can't actually watch the survivor. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Now, what if it's the case where the survivor actually decides to, you know, use ability lock, and then say we want to decode? What happens now during this time? So basically, we're going to be able to actually get the record scroll back. Let's see here. Well, I'm gonna get Knight ability predict, and we're gonna press 2, which is our Cypher machine. It seems like you do get locked here, so you can't use it at all. Okay, that's pretty interesting to see. So you can't use your scrolls at all. You can't use Inspect if he's near you, but you can use it if you're far away. Now the next question is this toggle T button with the review or non-review. Let's just see if Knight is able to cancel us from that. it seems like it doesn't matter. You can review no matter what. What about the switching from forward to backward? It seems like it doesn't really matter. So that's Clerk versus... No, well, I guess there's still one more. What if, let's say, Clerk recorded herself with a basic hit? Can Night tank this basic hit is going to be our question. So we're going to hold on right now. There is now the shield. Can we tank it? Yes, we can tank the chip. Okay, so Night can also tank the chip from Clerk, but that's it from Clerk. Now then, let's try out here Night versus Hermit. So I guess the first thing is his miracle orbs that we're gonna test out right here. Can he cancel it? We're holding on towards it right now. We throw it out. It seems like it does get immediately cancelled. So it doesn't seem like miracle orbs can be cancelled by Night. But what about attraction, which is this ability that goes up and down? We're gonna see whether we can actually you know, stop Hermit from doing it from Knight's point of view. So Knight is gonna item predict. We're gonna try use it. It seems like we do get locked. Okay, so we do initially get locked. But what if we're already up in the sky and then he starts to lock us? So that's what we're gonna try here. So he's gonna ability predict. We're gonna press or. It seems like you just immediately fall onto the ground. So that's really, really, really unfortunate here. Now, what about a chip damage here from Knight? Can you, how much damage do we actually tank while taking a normal hit? So let's see here. We're just gonna wait for stalemate to be ready. So in 3, 2, 1, that's the shield we basic hit, and it seems like he can tank 0.25 damage, so he does still take 0.35. That might seem like 0.4, but that's 0.35 if you do the maths there correctly. And I do think that's about it for Hermit. You can't really stop Hermit from viewing his map, like with the connections here. Oh no, you actually can. Wait a second, you can. Okay, so you can stop Hermit from connecting cipher machines if you really want to. Let's just see it again. He can get into it, but he can't connect it, it seems. Okay, then what about polarity switch in this case scenario too? We're going to ability predict, and then see the bottom, polarity switch. It seems like you're able to switch polarities no matter what happens. Okay then, so that's something new we learned about, you know, Knight versus Hermit. Okay, so for our main question right now is, can we cancel Tempest, which is a slow debuff here? So that's what we're gonna see here. Let's see, Knight ability predict, can we cancel Tempest? Yes, we can. But I guess the biggest question right now is, what if Tempest has already been activated? And then in this case scenario, you try to ability predict, it doesn't cancel anything. But I do think, right, in a nutshell, what if we want to use Tempest and then cancel its ability? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move back here a little bit. We're gonna use Tempest. Now we want to cancel Tempest. We cancel Tempest. It basically doesn't do anything. So if it's during animation, it doesn't matter. Now, what we're gonna see is, can we cancel this Typhoon? Okay, so we're going to ability predict. Can we cancel Typhoon? Yes, we can. But can we now cancel Typhoon during mid-animation is our biggest question of it all. So that's what we're going to see. We're going to Typhoon here. He's going to predict. And you basically do still get pulled back. I do think, right, in a nutshell, whether you're using Tempest or Typhoon, if the Hunter's already in animation, you can do the attack prediction here. So if you want to use your attack, the Hunter just gets stunned. Now, the next part is, what about his speed boost? Can we cancel the speed boost from being activating? That's what we're gonna see. Speed boost, it seems like speed boost here also does get countered. Okay, so it gets cancelled and nullified. I mean, it doesn't consume stacks, but like it just gets fully nullified. And then what about his dashes here? So that's what we're gonna see. He's gonna now predict our dash. We're gonna dash, and dash also does get nullified. Now, of course, when it comes to switching between wins, it doesn't really matter. As you can see here, I'm spamming V. It doesn't really matter. You can do whatever the heck you want to do. And that's NightWatch versus Night. Okay, next is going to be Night versus Opera Singer. Let's just see whether or not we can cancel our Shadow Leap here. And I guess that's the most important part. So we're going to try Ability Predict. And can we Shadow Leap? No, we can't. So Shadow Leap gets immediately nullified, as everyone saw. Now, the next question is, what about Shadow Dance? Shadow Dance, in a nutshell, is when you leave a remnant down and you want to teleport to it. So that's what we're going to see. Okay, now then, we're going to try Shadow Dance into our remnant. As you can see, I'm holding it. You get immediately ability nullified. So Any skill that is a teleportation, it gets nullified. Now, what about Shadow Strike? Shadow Strike is this ability in which you throw out a cloak, I guess, and then you have this ability that you can use to dash into. And that's what we're gonna see if it could get cancelled. Now, Knight will ability predict. You can throw it out. And it seems like it does get immediately nullified. So Knight would be a really good counter when it comes to going up against Opera Singer, I guess. Because, like, in our case scenario, you can just prevent her from using her items for, like, 6 seconds, which is pretty strong, especially against Opera too. Okay, now, so for Knight versus Fool's Gold, we're gonna first test out his pickaxe throwing. Can we throw out the pickaxe if he predicts? It seems like we can't. Okay, so you can't throw out the pickaxe if he ability predicts you. But what if you've already thrown your pickaxe all the way out and now you want to retrieve it? Will it now work? It won't. So TLDR, it won't come back at all. Okay, so now I guess what we're gonna say is, what if we throw the pickaxe out and then we wait for the pickaxe to actually come back even right after ability prediction? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this right now. We're in 6-second cooldown. Well, I guess nullify from the ability. Your axe does still come back to you, thankfully. The next part about Fool's Gold is his dashing ability towards his axe. Can you do this when Knight has locked you? Let's just see here. Right now, I'm gonna dash to my axe, and it seems like you just get immediately nullified. That's a little bit unfortunate. Not only that, Fool's Gold has a third ability. What is it? It basically just states that you can put this thing down. And that's kind of what we're going to try to do. So we're going to ability predict. And can we put it down? No, we can't. You get immediately locked here once again. And I do think, right, when it comes to max presence, this is the same as just normal axe. But we can try it out. Here's ability button. We try to throw it out, it just gets immediately cancelled, but it doesn't go into cooldown here, thankfully. So, when going up against Fool's Gold, you don't necessarily need to worry about his chair camp, because even if he does hit you from the outside, what you can do is you can ability predict, and even if he wants to throw his axe on towards the chair, he cannot do it. So, like, yeah, there's that for Fool's Gold. Okay, so next I do believe is going to be Ivy versus this guy. So the first thing what we're going to test out is, can Ivy throw out her, you know, Yi-Tian here if you ability predict? So that's the first thing. So Ivy, Yi-Tian, can it come out? Yi-Tian cannot come out here, it does seem. So you actually can't get your shadow form out. Now, I guess on the other point of view, what if we're in shadow form? Can we use our items? So we're going to ability predict here, and we're going to try Scream. You can scream, so it seems like you can scream in shadow form, right? Because you basically can't lock on towards your shadow form because you can't see it. So it kind of just means you can leech too, in a nutshell. I guess the next question here is, can we take back our shadow form just like that if he tries to ability predict us? So that's what we're gonna try to do. Here's Knight ability predict. Can we take it back? No, we can't take this shadow back with us. That's really unfortunate. Now the next part is, can we switch from human to shadow form if we're in human form? So we're gonna ability predict, and we're gonna try to move into shadow form. It seems like we can move into shadow form, so there's no restriction based on that too. So it's very similar here to Dreamwitch. The next question will be, can we teleport to an Ostrakon if Knight basically locks us, I guess. So that's what we're gonna do. Here's ability prediction. We're gonna teleport. You get immediately locked. As you can see there, that's highlighted, but you still do get immediately locked, which is a little bit unfortunate on that point of view too. Is there anything else? I don't think there's anything. Well, there is Revelation. Okay, so can you scream, which is this ability, on the main body if he tries the ability to predict you? Let's see. You can't. I try screaming, you can't scream as well as Ivy. So, like, in a nutshell, Knight counters Ivy's main body, just not the shadow form, because that thing is invincible. Okay, last but not least, we're finally at the end of our video now. It's Goatman versus Knight. Can we place down a cage against Knight? Let's just see here. Ability prediction. Can we place down cage? No, we can't. Okay, so that's very unfortunate. But I guess the other thing about Knight versus Goatman is, if you place down cage and he tries to ability predict you, what happens? You get stunned. So you do still get stunned, and he can do this like twice. So he can try attack you once, you're stunned. He can try attack you twice, you're stunned again. And I do think when it comes to this as well, right, you can place the Geisha and be like, oh, I'm going to predict your attack. Now I'm going to predict whether you're not going to do anything. So you attack and you get cancelled. Now you're going to try do something, but no, nothing happens. He has that shield. He tanks a chip damage. This guy actually tanks your normal chip damage. So that's pretty scary to see. But I guess the next question is, can we dash back when Night is ability predicting? Let's see here. Can we dash back? No, we can't. It does get immediately locked too. Now, I do think the next question comes with the fact that, hey, if we do this and we walk towards this side, will we get ability locked? Let's just see here. We ability predict. Basically nothing happens. So I guess, yeah, even if you go through from this side, nothing really happens at all at the end of the day. But that's going to be it from Night versus all Hunters. Thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new. And if you like these content, please support. This took me 4 hours to record. I'm so tired. Anyways, thank you everyone for watching. Have a good day. Good night, your good ones. Bye bye.